Wednesday. It's Lauren at Inspirational Goods with another episode of Quotes to Live By. And this week I wanted to talk about the subject of perfectionism. And the quote I picked comes from the author, researcher, and public speaker Brené Brown. And her quote goes, "Perfectionism is not the same thing as striving to be your best. Perfectionism is the belief that if we live perfect, love perfect, and act perfect, we can minimize or avoid the pain of blame, judgment, and shame." And I love her definition of this because perfectionism is not trying to be your best. It's something more than that. It's something that adds added stress to our lives. And it's something that's so unrealistic to achieve because perfectionism is really just a perspective. It's something that we define. So we can all have different definitions of perfectionism, and we can all also take or not take what others say to us as being perfect. So I think so many of us put this pressure on ourselves because we've learned to live in a way that's been passed down to us by people we've socialized with or what we read or consume in our world, that perfectionism has to be defined as a such and such thing. And we believe it in that way. So when we do projects for school, we believe it has to be perfect in this way because so-and-so said so. Or we need to love and live in a certain way because so-and-so said so. Or we need to act or we need to dress in a certain way that's perfect. But the reality is who decided that is what was perfect. So I think that it's kind of a challenge to us is that to know that there is no real perfectionism in life. It's beautiful and it's messy at the same time, and you have to decide what it is that is perfect in that world and in your world, and what's perfect to you. What is your definition? And it's just a matter of perspective on the whole thing. So I think that yes, try to do your best because it's something that you feel fulfilled in doing. And we should all strive to do our best and be our best at everything that we set our hands on or set our minds out to do. But do a good job and move on. I think in moments, and I look back in moments where I tried to be so perfect, I was always just stuck in that moment and I wasn't seeing the bigger picture. And I think all of you could probably relate to that. You're just stuck in that one little moment and you're unable to see the bigger picture and where this small piece that you're obsessing over fits into the greater perspective. And for me to kind of extrapolate that further, how does that fit into your whole life? Because if you're stuck on this one small chapter, this one small section of your life, are you ever going to get to move on to chapter 2, 3, 4, 5, etc., and live the rest of your life? So I think it's just a different way of seeing it, and thinking of striving to have that perfectionism. It's really just holding you back from living your life and living to see the bigger picture. So I heard something, and I don't remember exactly where I heard it from, but it was some book or some quote I read, and it was this grandfather talking to his son about how perfectionism is really just a lie, and we accept those lies and whatever perfectionism is that we believe because people have told us or society has told us that. But the reality is that we're all born perfect and we all are perfect in our own way. So we just have to reset what we think of perfectionism to be and just really live our lives to be our best selves, and kind of try to get rid of this idea of obsessing and making something perfect, because the underlying reason for that is because we're trying to avoid any blame or judgment or shame from other people because we're trying to live up to others' expectations instead of ours. So hopefully this was something that you could relate to today. I know it's something that I've struggled with in the past, and I feel it's something that all of us probably have. Hopefully it just gives you a little bit of a sigh of relief that just know you're perfect as you are, and maybe try to redefine your view of your world and try to stop living up to other people's ideals of and ideas of perfectionism. So thank you all for tuning in this week, and I look forward to seeing you again with another episode of Quotes to Live By again next week. Bye everyone. Take care.